Jessica Alba, Cash Warren, welcome to the show. This is exciting. This is exciting to have a him and her aspect. You were saying you never done this before.
No, we haven't.
Him and her aspect.
Thanks
virgins.
for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
And I got to start by saying thank you for the underpants. I'm floating on air over here.
I love that that's the lead-in. Yes, it is. Comfortable underwear.
They're holding
Thieves.
everything up, thank God.
They
We don't want things drooping. Gravity.
No. Yeah, exactly. Fight against that.
And they wick moisture. Is
Moisture wicking.
I
Exactly.
hate that word moisture, but What is moisture wicking?
To remove moisture from the nether regions, I think that's important to make sure that guys, we're on a mission to combat SWAS, and so we don't want any guys out there with swamp ass, and so moisture wicking
I
is
do
very
not
important.
want you to have swamp ass.
I'm sure the ladies out there would thank you for that.
Well, thank God you don't have swamp ass anymore.
Jessica, you know what I noticed? Because we have something in common. We have the same tattoo artist. Woo.
Oh yeah.
I just saw it because I saw you posted, and then I saw you posted. That's who does all my stuff.
Yeah,
he's the best.
Super talented.
Yeah,
He's
he is talented.
quite the artist.
Yeah.
He has a really nice touch.
Did you go to the new the Hideaway? Did you go to the secret place?
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. It's a cool little vibe there.
Where is that?
It's at
He's probably gonna get all mad if I put it.
Oh,
that's fine. I'll blast. He'll
Roosevelt, right?
It's at the Roosevelt. Yeah,
The
it's hidden
Roosevelt
away.
Hotel.
It's very cute.
Remember when we used to go to the club at the Roosevelt, and by the pool they used to have like that thing. So it's literally like a cabana, like right there.
And
Well, this is a perfect lead-in for my first question. I want to know how you guys met.
Definitely not at the club.
Not at the club. Not at the club.
At work.
Long time ago, 15 years ago. In Vancouver, Canada. She was doing a movie, Fantastic Four. I was working with the director, Tim Story, and she was one of the lead actresses. And so I was asked to take photos of her to test her contact lenses. And I was like, oh my gosh. Fell in love with her.
Oh.
Gross.
You took a minute?
Was the feeling mutual right away?
Well, he was seeing somebody else, and so was I at the time. And like when he was taking my pictures, I was normally I'm a pretty I don't know. I've always kind of been. My mom is a put your face on before you leave the house person, and so I didn't have any makeup on, and I normally would be really self-conscious. I remember feeling totally comfortable that he was just taking my picture and I had no makeup on at all. And I just was never that person. And I was like, oh, this feels really comfortable. That's cool. And then he just instantly felt like family. We did group dinners with everyone who was an expat, shooting in Vancouver. And I did a TV show up there called Dark Angel. So I knew the city. So I was happy to tell people about all the things that, are fun to do. And then one day, it was a week and a half.
Yeah, or a couple weeks in, I then went up to her and I was like, hey, let's grab dinner tomorrow night.
No,
pretending it was a group thing.
It was supposed to be a group
out
thing.
to dinner.
Nice.
And nobody else showed up. And so it was just the two
And then
of us.
I had a little spidey sense, wait a minute, is this creepy? Should I be worried? Where is everybody else? And then it was fine. And then we walked to Tojo's.
We did.
Yeah.
There's a great sushi spot in Vancouver called Tojo's. And so we went out to dinner there and then we walked home. We had a 5-hour dinner. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I was thinking,
and then it was it.
And then that was
And
it.
that was it.
Boom.
3 kids later.
Three
kids.
And a lot of poo.
And a
So
lot
much
of
poo.
Can you tell the audience about the poo story, the recent one that just happened?
latest.
Yeah,
The latest.
The delegation of the poo.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out what we just started talking about kids. We're trying to figure out what we're in for here, what we're getting into.
Well, Michael just started talking about kids with himself, but
Cash, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen to me?
Your life ends.
Okay,
Fair
perfect,
enough.
great.
No, your
No,
life
your
ends
life
as you
takes
know
on
it.
a new meaning.
And it turns into another
It
life.
does. It's great. It's
Of poo.
great.
There's lots of poo and vomit and
Yeah,
pee
changing diapers.
and changing diapers.
The best advice that Dad ever gave me when we were having our first child was change every diaper. It's actually something that a lot of dads for some reason don't do, but he was like, it's the easiest thing. People don't realize it's the quickest thing and you get the most credit for it. And so I took that on.
Smart
and
dad.
It was true. Yeah, it was
So
great.
smart.
It was
I always
awesome.
found that strange. I mean, listen, I've never been a dad, but dads that don't want to change diapers, it feels a little odd to me. Like, why would you not want to help your
I know.
kid? It's strange, but
Yeah,
It's
old,
a different
old.
generation.
It is.
Yeah, but the millennials and on, they are much more, part of the day-to-day domestic household stuff, and that just wasn't the case.
I'm definitely not a millennial.
No, but I'm just saying.
Maybe I am. What is it? How old?
I think 38, 37 is
no,
the cutoff.
Yeah, no, I missed that.
Yeah, but you're on the cusp.
Maybe
You're
I'm on the cusp.
millennial-ish.
Okay, there it is.
Ish.
I like it.
But I feel like you also have a more modern, progressive
Yes.
mindset.
I had a very involved dad. He was like my mom and my dad growing up, and he taught me a lot. And so, we share responsibilities and also, and everything at the house.
Yeah.
How did you guys both grow up? Was it similar?
No,
Nope.
he grew up real fancy, and I didn't.
Oh, that sounds like us. Huh.
yeah, similar.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't call it really fancy, but I guess fancy.
Yeah, I mean, it's fancy.
I grew up in LA. I went to a school, Crossroads in Santa Monica. It's a small private school, and I had a really engaged father, and he was,
who was in entertainment and
He was.
successful, and you grew up also like a UCLA alum, and like John
He
Wooden.
went to UCLA.
Yeah, but like Wooden was like in
I went to
your
Yale.
life and in your household, and then you went to Yale, and it was like paid for by your dad.
Though, there's like, and you spent some time with
That's
Gary,
nice.
who we all know, and it's there's a lot of people that have those opportunities and they fuck them up. So it's interesting to see, when you see someone that has those opportunities and they continue to push and continue. They're starting businesses. You've done a lot with your career, and so the other side of that is even when you grow up privileged, it's not always a formula for success. A lot of times, like I've seen it go the other way so many times.
Absolutely. I think that, it's the drive to want to do better and to live up to expectations, or the drive to just want to, pay your parents back by making them proud of you. And so that's kind of what's kept me motivated along the way.
So your parent, tell me if I have this wrong. Your parents were in the military, or one of them was?
My
military
dad,
family?
yeah, my mom's family was actually in the Navy.
Okay.
Her mom and her grandmother and aunt, and then they worked in the Pentagon, and like she has a deep kind of military background. Her dad was in the Marines. He was head of the Marine Orchestra. So that's like my mom's side. But then when my mom got with my dad, her extended family was racist, and they pretty much like cut my mom off. And then her mom, who raised her, and all of them, they all passed away by the time I was 3. So my mom's only family became my dad's family, which they're all Mexican. Mm-hmm. And my dad's family, they weren't a military background, but then my dad was pregnant. He got his girlfriend pregnant, who became his wife quickly with me. And he was like, how can I go to school and get paid to go to school? And the best opportunity for him at that time was to go into the Air Force. And so he got to get his business degree, and then he was in the Air Force, and he got, what is nice is when you are in the military, and you are going for that higher education, those opportunities are there. And then I had a lot of medical problems and health issues when I was a kid, and they paid for all my medical stuff. And that's so nice that my parents got to have that. And they were 17, 18 years old, and when they got together, 18.
What was
19,
that like, having medical
got
issues
pregnant.
when you were so young?
I think I didn't know anything else. And so I spent a lot of time in hospital rooms just fantasizing about being somebody else and wanting another life and wanting to be a superhero. And I think that's where my drive to be a storyteller and to dream and to try and manifest those dreams. What would it actually take? I think that's where it all kind of started, spending so many kind of lonely days and nights in hospital rooms.
I mean, at this point, you've done, and we're going to get into it, you've done so much with your career. A lot of our audience knows you from when you were acting. A lot of them knows you from Honest. When you describe yourself today, when you describe what you do, what your profession is, how do you describe yourself now with everything else that's been accomplished?
Well,
Fully loaded question.
I play
A mom.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's lots of. I think I'm a multi-hyphenate, right? I started my life early on in a career in entertainment, and I was fortunate enough that I was able to be successful. And then I became a mother, and my perspective and things changed, and my values and what mattered changed, and I then was really driven to create a brand around the ethos of a healthy and happy life, because I grew up without the luxury of having my health, and I wanted to make sure that my little one wasn't going to be sick, and I couldn't ensure that because there were so many things sort of fighting against us, and I didn't trust what was out there in the marketplace, so I created it. And that drive is where I am today. And I my love always in my heart is being able to tell stories, for sure. Like I can't shake that, but my focus for the last 10 years has been on building the business, and I founded it 7 years ago, and it's always changing and evolving. So there's that. But my number one is like, I really value the person that I've become in learning how to navigate the world with a partner, with Cash, and then also being a mom to my little people who have taught me, leaps and bounds how to just evolve and try to be a more thoughtful, active, conscious person.
How do you guys balance your relationship with all that you have going on with 3 kids and 2 businesses? I mean, it's a lot. How do you guys make time for each other? Me and Michael sometimes have problems with that when you're working together.
What do you think, Cash? It's like a constant, for me, I think it's just a constant thing that we have to work on.
Yeah, I think so. I think that you find the time, and I think that as long as one of the things that we talk about a lot is not being stagnant, is always trying to push each other and help each other grow, and trying to learn new things and pushing each other beyond our comfort zone. And I think because we also have that dynamic, it allows us to find the time. I don't know. You figure it out, and
you figure it out. I love that.
You figure it out.
And I think what works today isn't going to work tomorrow, and allowing each other to evolve and change, and not expect either one of us to kind of be stuck in the person that we met, because we're both so different, right? Circumstances have changed so much, and he has a lot of pressure, and he's building a company, and he has people that rely on him every day, and so do I, and there's no it's just that's a different extra pressure on top of, we need to be good parents, we need to be good partners with each other, we need to be thoughtful with our own parents and siblings, and there's just a lot more to it than when we were 23 and 25, and it was like, do you want to go get some cookies?
Michael and I totally get that. We met when we were 12, and we used to make out behind the tennis court.
That's
We
true.
haven't been together the whole time, but we get the
Then
smoke weed.
her dad caught me, and I was scared shitless.
12.
long
yeah.
time.
That's really sweet.
Long time.
She's been chasing me for a really long time. I said, fine, I'll give it a shot.
I feel like you say this on every single podcast, but that's not
probably
true.
the way. Speaking of 23, 25-year-olds, you've obviously been in the public eye, both of you, for a long time. There's a lot of listeners, influencers, creators that listen to this show that are starting to think about how to transition in their careers. Maybe they've had a platform with a lot of attention for a long time, and they're trying to figure out longevity. I was listening to an interview that you did, and Jessica, and you were saying in the interview that you always thought of yourself as a brand, as a personal brand.
Mm-hmm.
And then because of that, you were able to transition and create a lot of longevity, obviously, with all the stuff that you built. What advice would you both have to young creators that have platform now that are trying to stretch that into the future?
Do you want to go first? Because you've actually advised a lot of the early YouTube influencers along the way.
Give us all the
I
tips that you
I
tell
don't
them.
have many, but I will say with Jessica specifically, when she was pregnant with Honor, and she was becoming a young mom, one of the things that she wanted to do was reach out and speak to other moms. It was early in social media, and I think Twitter and Facebook had only been around for about a year or so, and so I said, your publicist And, your team isn't going to reinvent you. They're not going to turn you from this Maxim, hot, like, sex
GQ,
symbol,
whatever.
GQ cover girl into a mom. And they're not going to help rebrand you. And so you need to do that yourself. And so social really was the platform that she was able to utilize in order to engage with other moms out there and to speak to folks and to learn and to get advice and input about what it was like being a new mom. And so I think in general, you can reinvent yourself as influencers. I think that you don't get pigeonholed and don't get stuck. People won't do the work for you, and you're going to have to really make sure it's core to who you are. But use social and use the platforms out there to engage with your audience and find things that excite you that they also respond to. But that's what I would.
Yeah, and it was scary at first because I was living in, at the time, the paparazzi and all of that. Like, we felt hounded every day. We couldn't leave the house. We couldn't go to the groceries. Like, literally, we could do nothing without many people violently trying to get up in our business.
I loved it. I used to steal their car keys. So when they would follow Jessica.
How did you do that?
Because they would just follow her everywhere she went.
It was terrible.
And so anywhere you went, like if it was to the go get coffee, as you're driving, you park on the side. They all leave their cars in the middle of the road at the time and just hop out to go get that one photo.
What do you do if you want to look homeless?
And so I would jump out of the driver's seat, run to their cars, take their car keys out,
That's
and
amazing.
In the
them
gutter.
in the gutters. And so
hilarious.
their cars were just stuck in the middle of the street. I did that until one guy threatened to kill me, and then I decided, this probably isn't a good idea anymore.
So if you
He was like an MMA fighter.
are you
too.
worried every single time you leave the house about what you look like, or did you just start to not care?
I think, again, I grew up with a mom who literally wouldn't drop me off at school until she had her face on. And so she could be in sweats or whatever, but as long as her face was together and her hair was somewhat assembled, she would at least blow dry her bangs down. And so I always I feel like I'm always a little presentable. But yeah, I mean, you just have to not care, because if you care too much, then you're going to be a weirdo, I think. And so we got to a point where I was just kind of numb about it. But the privacy thing and being on social media, it felt like the antithesis of it was like everybody's so it felt like my whole world was living in a fishbowl, and they were invading my privacy, and it's the only thing that I had was my alone time or my private time. But then what Cash was saying is then you're putting your persona in media companies' hands, essentially, and whatever article they want to write and how they want to skew you is how the public will think of you. And he was so in order for you to get your true authentic self out there and tell your truth isn't to fight against said media company that misquoted you in an article, but just be real and just start slow and start communicating in the stuff that feels right. And so I did it in a slow way, and it was Twitter, right? The first one was at Facebook.
Both.
You felt like you can control the narrative a little bit more.
100%, because no one monitors or no one was doing that. And then when I started Honest, I was actively doing the social media for Honest as well. And so I was managing both accounts, and that got a little bit overwhelming to say. It was a lot. But yeah, I think you have room. I think it's also what gets you energized? What can you think of that you can do when you wake up every day and you're I'm pumped for today? And so whatever business or idea or how someone wants to reinvent themselves, they got to be pumped about what they're doing every day, or else it's just what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
It's repetitive, and also a lot of people get envious of other people's reality, and that's also not a great approach to how you should think of building your brand or anything, and we've experienced a lot of that as well.
Look how hot you guys are in that photo.
No, well,
There's a little face.
No,
too.
hold on. Lauren fucked that picture up because she found a picture that she liked of herself, and I think that one's
course, every
photoshopped.
time.
I think
Who
I'm
cares what he
photoshopped
looks
in,
like?
and then I think I have a lazy eye there. But
I don't care.
I am
It was the
constantly-
best of me.
Cash, you could probably relate to this. I am constantly used as a prop. I have no say in any of the imagery. The show is bright pink. It's called The Skinny Confidential. People are like, what are you doing?
That's
And
so funny. I was thinking that
love
too.
it.
I have zero. Listen, I have to pick and choose my battles.
Yes,
You have to
totally.
pick and choose your battles, and that's not one of them.
It's the joke that when people are like, "Oh, look, can I get a photo of the two of you?" And then they're like, "All right, Cash, a little to the left, a little more to the left, a little more to the left. All right, Jessica alone." Phew.
Do you prefer to be more behind the scenes, or do you like to be in front of the camera more?
No, I prefer to be behind the scenes.
How did you
Yes.
decide to start your business? What's the story there?
My business. So prior to that, I've started my own company at 24, and I used to produce documentaries, and we did film financing, and then I had my first tech startup, and so I've always been somewhat of an entrepreneur. I think one of the most frustrating things that I found with the entertainment industry and producing documentaries specifically is that you can work on a project for like 6 years before it ever sees the light of day, and the development cycle on entertainment properties can last years and years and years. And it just was frustrating to me that, I couldn't just make something and put it out. And so with Pair of Thieves, one of the things I wanted to do was kind of like, what's a business that I could start where I didn't need to raise any capital for? I didn't need to have any investors. I was kind of tired of having a board of investors and needing to answer to people. And so socks were something that I could be reasonably passionate about. And at the time, all the men's dress socks were these like really thin nylon socks. I called them like drunk socks because they would like lose their elasticity and they would
They
fall
just flip down.
They
Yeah,
would
it's the worst.
the worst feeling ever. And so I hated drunk socks, and I wanted to make a better one. I wanted to combine like a performance sock with a casual designer wear sock. And that's how it started. I never do anything alone, so I partner up with people that are a lot smarter than me. And so I partnered up with a kid I went to high school with, who's a really great designer, graphic designer. And then we brought in a kid that went to UCLA who understood manufacturing and supply chain and operations. And the three of us ran Pair of Thieves for the first few years. Target was the first retailer we spoke to about it in 2013. And, timing is so important. Like, I wish you could pick, having great timing over a great idea. Like, I would pick great timing all day long. And so when we pitched Target, the buyer was like, this is exactly what we've been mandated to find. Let me give you a test run. We're like, oh shit, now we got to figure out how we're going to actually go make all this stuff. And
Selling in the idea is one
yes.
thing, but actually making it is
Right.
a whole other thing.
and we were able to execute it. And so fortunately, that first test run went great. And so we started with socks, and today we make, underwear, undershirt. We're a complete basics brand, so underwear, undershirts, and socks. Team is growing. We still haven't raised a dime, and it's going great.
Wow.
I mean, not having to answer, because having run companies like that's the key. Is
Yes.
not having to answer.
Yes.
Jessica just pulled out Honest Beauty lipstick. I want to know what color it is.
Oh, this one is blood orange.
Blood orange, and it's so pretty.
Thank you.
And I just told her earlier that I was wearing her magic balm right now. Can you give the audience a couple tips on how to use the magic balm? Just going off on a beauty tangent for 1 second.
Yeah,
I love specifics on beauty.
Cash is. I even put magic balm on Cash when he has his dry lips.
Oh, I'm gonna do that when you're asleep.
And when we're in the car, and I'm like, babe, it's looking a
Little crusty.
little crusty over there. Yeah, so this is a great balm. It's something you can put on your lips. You can put on your dry cuticles. I put it on the high points of my cheeks, down the bridge of my nose. I put it on my girls as well. It's just like a great everything balm, and you just keep it. It's nice in your purse. It kind of fits in any pocket, in any purse, and you're good to go.
Yeah, guys, this is one of my favorites. You have to check it out. It's called Magic Balm.
Yeah,
It's really, really good.
really great.
I want to get into the detergent story
Okay.
and how you were allergic to detergent. Can you tell the audience a little bit about that and how that was? I feel like you were, that's sort of the basis of the idea of Honest, right?
Yeah, so I had pretty much kicked a lot of my asthma and allergy related problems. By the time I was 12 or 13, I dramatically changed the way that I ate. And also because I was financially independent, because I was working, full-time working as an actress at that time, I can then choose what I wanted to bring in my zone. And so basically anything that had a strong scent I didn't use. So I would buy alternative, cleaning products, personal care products, all of that. And then I became a vegan for a few years, cut out dairy, and my health changed dramatically. And then from then on, like, I just didn't even really remember having asthma attacks like all the time like I did when I was a kid until I was pregnant. And when I was pregnant, I asked my mom, as you do, what should I use? Like, I'm so confused. Like, can I just wash? I got all these clothes from my baby shower, and I was like, can I just wash this in the whatever detergent that I use? And she was like, it was fragrance free and, all the things. And she was like, no, you have to use this other one that's for babies. And I'm like, oh, okay. Why? And she's like, because it makes the baby's clothes soft. Baby's clothes need to be soft. And I was like, okay. So I used it, and the detergent got on my hands, and I got a rash where the detergent was on my hands. And as I was folding the laundry, I had like this prickly, red, itchy rash, and I was sneezing a lot. And I was like, Mom, there's no way this is safe for babies. Like, I'm allergic to this. And she's like, well, that's the detergent that I used on you when you were a baby and you were fine. And I'm like, no, I wasn't. I was actually really sick. But and she's like, I'm like, this is crazy. Like, you're making me sick. Like, how dare you recommend this? And she was like, you're hysterical, you're hormonal, and I'm hanging up until you're ready to be nice to me. And I was like, I'm going to Google what's in this stuff. So then I went and I Googled what could be in this thing that I could have had this reaction to. And it was the first time I really looked at ingredients and the correlation that certain ingredients can have on your health. And the detergent that my mom used on me very well could have been a totally different detergent, because companies can change their ingredients. They don't have to say, hey, this is a totally different thing. It's all under the same brand, so you assume you're getting the same thing. But to cut costs and to improve your margin, a lot of companies use more synthetic and cheaper ingredients to get their formulas down to a cheaper price.
We gotta check our detergent. Oh.
But that's in everything, right? That's in beauty products. It's in personal care products. It's in cleaning products. Even on, I was like, did this research and I found this website called Healthy Child, Healthy World. So then I was like, there's got to be a brand, there's got to be a company that can do this better. And as I was doing research, it was like, yeah, one company does the detergent really well. This other company does this one shampoo very well. This one other one does this one thing. But there wasn't one company that was like transparent about the ingredients, that actually worked and was effective. Because often when you're getting a natural alternative or a better for you product, it didn't work. And I was like,
or it didn't work as well.
We've experienced that in the deodorant department with Lauren when she switches over to those natural ones. I've been struggling.
Yikes.
If anybody out there knows, sorry, I'm going on a tangent here, but
no,
we've experienced
you
those
guys,
things.
when you make deodorant,
that also smells like Easter eggs sometimes.
But you have to give yourself also like a solid month for your body to change over.
It's been a solid 5 years
that you've been on the natural.
One more month.
By the way, I have a few that I can give you, but you're gonna be wet under the arms. That's just what's gonna happen. But you don't need to smell funky, so I can help you out in that.
I don't mind being wet under the arms, but just clean up some of the smell there.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, if I can vent to you for a minute.
Yeah,
just
I
like
hear
this.
you.
it.
Nobody wants to be funky.
Yeah, it's true. Well, it's interesting with the natural products we have in that gift box in front of you. There's an all natural personal lubricant in there. Cash, you can check that out later. But we created this product, but it's a more premium, expensive product. And when I was going through the process, like, why are these ingredients cost more even though they're natural? And basically got back, it's because not many companies use natural ingredients, so they're not as in abundance. So it's harder to create products around them.
So when you source the raw material, maybe there's like 3 companies that are using it versus there's 100 companies. So you have the scale to make things cheaper for the more synthetic ingredients. But the more people, it's similar to like the organic food movement. The more distribution and the more, I guess, the consumer wants it, the more affordable it becomes. So it was also my mission. Like, I know that my products, when we build them, they're going to be more expensive to make. But I still need to have a healthy margin profile to have a sustainable business,
Sure.
right? And so, but I can't have it so expensive that people can't afford it. So I'm priced within reach. And even like our diapers and wipes. So we have a diapers and wipes bundle that you can get at honest.com. And if you price compare going to your CVS, Walgreens, Target with other diaper brands and diapers and wipes, the same amount, we're priced the same. But you don't have to leave your door. And we're the most natural disposable diaper on the market, and we really work, and we have cute designs.
So early days when you were trying to source all these ingredients, was it difficult? Because Honest it's been established for a long time.
There's two ways to manufacture. One is you partner with a manufacturing partner, and they are in lockstep with you, with your regulatory team, to go and find those raw materials in bulk at the best price. The other one is if you develop in-house, which we have 2 labs in-house, and we develop our formulas in-house, and then we go and just directly source those raw materials because we know what we need, and then we send the bulk of those raw materials to the manufacturing partner that we've picked to actually assemble the product. And then we have our chemists go and oversee the process of even mixing this and that, because the process of mixing and heating things and all of that, that's where things could also fall apart.
Yeah, and it changes the formula sometimes, right? Or it changes the way the ingredients are labeled.
Yeah, well, it changes the stability of the formula. It could. And then you need to put it in your package, and then you need to do stability testing. So I've learned the hard way.
I want to talk
along the
about
way
that,
of
like
how it
nitty gritty,
happens.
like how I want to go into the nitty gritty with both of your companies. When you guys have your ideas, how quickly do they come to fruition? Does it take a while? Like, did it take 2 years? Is it a year? Did you both have an idea and know you were looking for a business plan? Like, was it something that you just sort of like fell into and decided, oh, I'm going to transfer from acting into business? Or was it like a conscious decision?
It was very conscious, and it was impossible.
It took a long time.
It took 3 years.
Wow. For both 3 years, both companies?
Yeah, about.
Yeah.
So you had the idea, and then it took 3 years to wrap.
Before we had products
Crazy how
made,
long it
and
takes
we
to
were
develop
able to.
product.
Yeah, it does.
Wow.
It
Well,
and even now with a business with a full product development team and a design team and all of the resources you need, we still spend about a year and a half on every new product we release. And I think a lot of that is because you're trying to solve a problem. You're not just creating product for the sake of creating product. And so when you're trying to improve something or change the way something is done, I think that by, just naturally it's going to take a little bit longer.
You're both not just slapping a label on something. It's not white labeled. You're creating it yourself, which is probably why it took so long.
Exactly.
So while you're both developing these products, were you guys acting simultaneously, or was it separate?
Well, he's never been an actor.
Oh, I thought you were in the Fantastic Four.
No, I
Behind
wasn't.
the scenes yet.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were in it.
No. I've never been an actor. No acting for
No
me.
acting at all.
No.
Never?
I would be terrible. No.
Really?
Yeah.
His dad was an actor.
My dad was.
Or
My
is
dad
an-
is an
he
actor.
is an active actor.
And he was a
He's still an
exactly. My
actor.
dad is an actor, and he was a basketball player at UCLA.
Wow.
And that taught me a lot. I wanted to be behind the camera. I wanted to be more on the business side of entertainment initially. I wanted to be a producer. I just looked at that as like a career path that actually had longevity. When I was growing up, my dad was on a really big hit show in the 80s and early 90s, and then when that went away, I saw his career kind of taper off a bit, and I realized how hard it must be to grow old in that business. And so for me, it was always like, I want something a little bit more stable, and I'm a bit more conservative, I guess.
What a fantastic partner, though, for you, for what you do. He saw his dad, and so he was able, I'm guessing, to help you as a teammate transition from acting to business.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's nice about having a partner that understands the business but isn't competitive with you in the business is that he understands what it takes to do it. Because, like, I'm working 16 hours a day. It's like, it's not glamorous. It's like pretty intense. And you are on all the time because everyone's so sensitive to the people who are in front of the camera. So every interaction you have with everyone, from the people who are in transpo to the office staff to the camera folks to the catering and craft, like everyone's so sensitive to you that you always have to be this person. And
Although the
on
one
and-
part of the business that I would say that I don't fully understand is that there's no way hooking up with someone else is not fun. Like, and so she's always like, "Oh, there's so many people
Oh, my
around. There's the
God.
director there. I'm like, but you're still having fun. That dude's a stud. Like, there's no way you're not gonna like hooking up with him." She's like, "Oh, it was gross." I'm like,
it's
"No
true.
way."
It's disgusting.
I would be an actor just to have that in that moment,
I guess
right?
it's the difference between me and you.
Men and women.
It's just like, it's disgusting most of the time because they're usually a stranger, and you're just like, oh my God.
Even more fun. No way.
No strings attached. Well, I guess
Right.
besides like a massive
But
contract.
it
and
sounds
getting
like-
production
Paid
team
a
and
ton of
everybody
money.
around,
That
yeah.
sounds like
But
your
also, like,
autobiography
who
in
are
college.
you even?
Yeah.
Not. I mean, I think Pierce Brosnan and Bruce Willis are very attractive gentlemen.
Yes.
But like, that's like weird. It's weird.
Well, that one may have been a little weird, but
Two?
like, or both of those may have been.
So what are you talking about?
I don't know.
I mean,
in
he's
general,
just,
you know?
it's like so aggressive. So obviously,
Well, it's interesting to talk about because I think I think I'm like, that sounds pretty good. I mean, I'm a straight man, but Pierce Brosnan, Bruce Willis, like,
Could be
maybe
worse,
it could
yeah.
be cool.
it's not, it's just not, I don't know. There's a difference between, it's just like when you're choosing to want to be with someone in that way and it's very intimate, like you're breathing on someone and it's like it's
I see what you're
all
saying.
there, and you're smelling the skin and it's like there. You want to choose who you're doing that with, and you got to really kind of like pretend.
I would have
What
to have
happens
a
in
shot of
those
tequila.
in those situations?
I do have to.
If
I have
it,
to-
you know,
And I'm gonna say I'm unprofessional 100% because I feel like really good entertainment.
have you
people
ever
in
heard Howard
entertainment
Stern
don't
talk
have
about
to
this?
do it,
Have you ever heard
but-
him talk about like when he did his movie Private Parts of Return, like sex scenes? He was saying he was all riled up, turned on, like fully in. And
Howard
was,
okay.
and he was saying like, I don't understand how male actors how this doesn't happen. I mean, I don't know what are you supposed to do if you're with one of the most beautiful women on the planet and you're in these type of scenes? How do you have to just disconnect
Well,
completely, but
first
also
of
be in the
all-
moment?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're also like doing it for 16 hours, 15 hours.
That's how long those scenes take.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Because you're shooting, sometimes it's days.
I'm not that much of a man. I don't.
I'm just
16
saying, like,
hours.
but it's like days and days of the same thing, and you have to recreate that moment every time, and recreate the peak of your intimacy and what that thing that they want to capture, and they need it from this angle and that angle and this angle and this angle and that angle, and it just like
I don't feel bad for you.
anyway. I'm just saying
16
that
hours is a long day, though.
That is.
And you know,
And
where
you've been
There's a
on
lot
I
of
have
breaks.
empathy for you with everyone in your face, probably the makeup artist and the hair
yeah,
and the touching and the cake.
By the way, everyone's right here.
yeah, that's a lot.
Nothing about it is
It's not-
alone
it's not really
in
intimate,
a
yeah.
no. I mean, it's just come on.
I know it's not intimate. I'm not saying it's intimate. I
Having
just think
people
it's
in your
fun.
energy space.
Yes.
You know, in your bubble.
Yes.
What was this is while we're here? What what is your favorite part about acting, and what is your least favorite part? Maybe we've already just touched on the least favorite. What's like when you become such an entrepreneur and business mogul, but when you think about acting, like what really like sparks? What's her name? Maria Canudo? Is that how you say it? Kondo. What really sparks joy here?
I love her.
She's great.
What really sparks joy? I would say the vulnerability of not knowing. I love to control the outcome. I'm a goal-oriented person, and I probably micromanage a lot in my life. And so it's kind of the only time I'm forced to not be me. And I get to just be vulnerable and be open and be free. What is my least favorite part of it is probably it's still a pretty sexist industry, and it's still pretty racist, and you feel that, and people just can't get over the hurdle that like the world is diverse and women are intelligent and they're not just this thing, and we're not just things that you can like put in this one bucket or see this one way, and we're allowed to be more than that. And that's still like such a huge struggle and fight, and they feel like if they have one person of color, then they've like checked it off.
Box, yeah.
But you're like, but it should be like, you shouldn't even put a label on someone needing to be this color. It should just be best person for the job, period, done.
I think being married to an actor and seeing kind of, for me, what one of the most frustrating things for her would be that, like she said, she loves to, manage her outcomes. She's goal oriented and she likes to, control situations. But in acting, when you're filming a movie, you're so far removed from what that final product is going to actually look like and feel like and be. It all depends on, that part is made in the edit room. And so not knowing what the outcome is going to be, not knowing if they're going to take your best take or they're going to use your best take in the actual film, or
because
is that
the sound,
whole scene
was
end
better
up on
in the other
floor.
one. Yeah.
And so just the surprise, isn't always good when you go actually watch that final cut and you're like, damn, I thought, they didn't use my best takes there. Or they cut me into a character that I didn't think I was playing. I think that can probably be extremely frustrating.
Yeah, it is.
How different is being a business owner from acting? I mean,
It couldn't be more different.
What's harder?
Business, 100%. Yeah, because it's like your child. It's also like your identity, and I care about it so deeply. I care about the people. I care that are actually helping bring this dream to life every day, and putting in their sweat and their creativity and everything else that you put into building something. I care so much about the consumer and them bringing us into their home. And you can't control, things. Things are just going to happen on both sides, and I really do have the best of intentions, and sometimes you don't always have everything going exactly how you want it to go. And then also being able to set the vision, to stay aspirational and progressive and moving things forward, because the companies that are out there dominating the beauty industry, the personal care industry, and consumer products, packaged goods in general, a lot of those businesses have been around for hundreds of years, and it's like there's room for a little disruptive company to come in and do something different. They'll still dominate, but maybe we can influence their practices in a positive way.
There's a lot of young people. You guys are both entrepreneurs, and we talk about this from our perspective a lot on the show. But in my opinion, entrepreneurship is extremely glamorized, especially in the 2019 world. And I think a lot of people think it's a lot easier than it is, and it's a happy life. As somebody speaking personally, it's pretty much, I wake up every day, I'm like, okay, what kind of fire or problem am I going to have to deal with today? Like, it's pretty much 90% of my day.
You don't wake up at 3 or 4 o'clock and have that 2 hour, like, writing down everything that's running through your
3
head.
in the morning, she's saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
no. No, what I was saying, it's like, it's so glamorized. There's a lot of young people that say, okay, I'm creative, now I'm going to run a business. And they want to jump into it. And I deal with that a lot in my role, and I'm sure you've seen it. What would you tell young people that are thinking about jumping into business, creating their own brand, starting a product line, whatever it may be, about basically just covering entrepreneurship and talking a little bit, pulling the curtain back and talking about the difficulties? Because if someone looks at both of your lives as, okay, great careers, great family, great marriage, great companies, and they don't necessarily, I want to kind of get into the struggles here a little bit.
Well, I think everyone likes to look at the final product, but they don't see what it took to get there. Mm-hmm. And I think it's always easy, like I said, to look sideways and to think like, oh, they look like they have, the grass is greener, right? They look like they got it all together, but you have no idea what that journey was. And I think every day we were saying we work on our marriage. It's not easy to wake up next to the same person every day. But
You're telling me.
But we're chosen family, right? And we made a commitment. We made a commitment to our kids, to our family. We'll always be family, so we're gonna like figure it out.
Yeah.
You know?
And I would say, you know, what gets reported on, not necessarily with Honest or with, yeah, not with Honest, but you read a lot about those unicorn businesses. You read a lot about those companies that go out and raise a ton of money and they get valued at billions of dollars. And in 2 years, you know, it's worth $1 billion. And it's because that's what gets reported on so often. It's easy to think that if you don't do that, then you're failing. And what advice I would give is slow and steady wins the race.
Yep.
And be patient with growth. You know, be patient with team expansion. You know, be patient with it. If you look at those legacy businesses like Jessica was referring to a minute ago in the beauty or CPG world, and the
Years
fact that
and
they
years and
took
years.
them decades and, you know,
To
half
get their
a century.
supply chain and operations and their consumer insights and distribution. I mean, it takes time for all of that. Stuff doesn't happen overnight.
And so to not be dissuaded by that and to be patient with it and to, you know, really.
And be profitable. If at your like jump off, if you can figure out how to be profitable from day one, then you'll always be able to control your own destiny. And that's something
advice.
I've always admired about what Cash built from day one. He was profitable, and they've always been able to really just kind of like sit in the driver's seat, and they're comfortable with slowing down the growth in order to build their internal infrastructure, right? And then they can ramp up the growth again because they know how to do that. But that's so nice. What a luxury to be able to do that. I think my advice for entrepreneurs who are, you know, wanting, what do they need? You said, I think they need grit and humility.
I agree. How have you guys both leveraged social media and maybe influencers with both your companies? Is there something that you know, is it press box? Is it influencer marketing? What have you guys done with social media?
What have you done, Cash?
Well, I am wearing your underpants.
Yeah,
I
a great
appreciate
V-Day surprise.
I love that.
You had the
Yes,
best V-Day
yes.
surprise with the cookie and the socks and the
Yes.
balloon.
Yes, I love engaging with influencers, and you know, as one of the things that I always try to do is I try to find the partnerships or the relationships that aren't just purely on the surface, and I look for people that actually really respond to the product, and those are the people that I choose to engage with. You know, I never ask for people to post unless it's something that you feel compelled to do. We don't do any paid, you know, influencer stuff, and so it's really up to them if they want to post. And I think that because of that, there's an authenticity behind it, that there's a real, you know, appreciation of whether it's a gift I've sent them or that we've sent them, or products that they've bought that they love, and that's what compels them to post. So for us, it's been really organic and fruitful.
Yeah, and Cash does have the benefit of being really close friends with lots of very big influencers and having genuine relationships with them. So not everyone can use that strategy. I didn't grow up in LA, and I don't have those same types of relationships with tight, you know, relationships like he has with folks. But I too reach out to my homegirls and my friends, and I just like, when I'm excited about a new product, I want them to have it, and I want it to be like an unboxing, like a present. And so that's kind of how I think about it with my friends, and that's sort of like that high end sort of like influencer vibe. And they're really just women that I respect, and that and we have, like, we go to dinner and we like hang out, like we're actual friends, and so we lean on our friendships. But mine aren't as like, his are like the biggest.
It was fun when
in all the land.
When Honest was first starting out, it was really cool because you could look at social and you could look at their Twitter feed or their Facebook page, and we would know, you know, 4 or 5 months before somebody announced that they were pregnant, because they would start following Honest on Twitter, or they would start
Oh,
following.
yeah.
Oh my
They
God,
would.
And
that's
so we were like,
hysterical.
I bet you this person's gonna,
Yeah.
pregnant.
It's
And
true.
so it gave Jessica, I guess it gave them a little bit of a leg up where they could then start engaging with those influencers early enough in the process where it was genuine and it was real. And so,
Yeah,
that was
then the micro influencer strategy is really around, honing in on the things that matter to the person and then aligning our brand with people who care about those values. And it's family, it's safety, it's clean, it's transparency, it's honesty, health and wellness. So those pillars, if those matter to you, you're usually part of our tribe, and then we just want to delight you.
And ours is junk comfort. So if you care about junk comfort,
I
then
like
we
junk
care
I really
about
align
you,
with that
Yeah, I
mission.
like
You know?
If our audience was to start with, and I know this is going to be hard, with one of your products, what would you tell them each to start with? Like, which pair of socks would you tell them to start with? The underwear, the socks? Is there a color? And let's go beauty. Which beauty product would you start with?
Whoa.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
I would say the mascara.
Oh, okay. Are you wearing it? Because
yeah.
it's really pretty.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm wearing it. And for baby or personal care products, if you're going to put all of that, mush that up, I would say our lotion. Our new lotion. It's 24-hour moisture. It's great for him. It's great for the baby. It's great for it's really nice.
Okay.
So
And I would say you should start with a pair of our black socks.
Okay.
I know we've
Or
been talking about the
blackout,
socks, but
whiteout
these,
socks.
whatever I'm wearing here, this is the brightest
Yes.
underwear I've ever wear. It's comfortable. I'm not kidding.
We have they're very comfortable. The
Yeah.
Super Fit underwear, they're Cool
Yeah.
Breeze as well. That fabric is like air conditioning for your junk, and so we really do. That is our hero product. That's our best seller that builds loyalty. Our blackout whiteout program is just our multi-pack of black and white socks, which by far the best sellers. We have a give back component associated with that program, and so we've donated close to 5 million pairs of socks in the last 2 years
Wow.
to the homeless.
Wow.
And they're exceptionally comfortable, they're really functional, and they're just generic black. They're not generic, but they're
They're
black
elevated
and white.
black
They're
and
basics.
white. They're
and so I
basics.
think that, prints and patterns aren't for everybody, and so, we do offer just those core colors, and so I would probably, it's kind of like our gateway drug, I would say.
Okay.
With everything going on, businesses, kids, a lot of kids. We talk about that a little bit.
So many kids.
A lot of kids. All the things going on, and I know now you're doing another show. What do you do to find time for health and wellness and staying in shape?
Yeah, we have to talk about your health and fitness.
Because
and
you guys are both
Be Well by
in great
Kelly.
shape.
We got to talk about that because our audience definitely wants to hear how you guys stay in great shape.
No more kids, though. I'm giving
Yeah.
free vasectomies on Father's Day if anybody wants to come.
By the
Free
way,
vasectomy.
you need to give yourself a free vasectomy. I've been trying to get him to get that one for
You
a
got to
while.
be sure though. My mom made my dad get one, and then
Reverse
she
it.
decided to reverse, and then had to get it again.
Oh,
and he was
no.
pissed.
Yeah. Oh,
no.
Understandably,
Your poor dad.
No.
you got to be sure.
Health and wellness. Go for
I'm
it,
very
babe.
sure about that one. Health and wellness. I've known Kelly LeVeque for a while. I was feeling overtired, stressed out. I couldn't shed that 10 pounds thing. Everything just wasn't fitting right. But I wasn't eating a lot, and so I didn't understand what was going on. And she just educated me on healthy fats and whole foods and having as much plant-based as possible, and don't mix your carbs and your proteins, and keep your sugars also isolated. And she just taught me how to combine food, and then start your day with this kind of thing, and then you're allowed caffeine. But I was easily doing 8 shots of espresso a day.
Damn.
Wow.
It's pretty intense.
And she was and I was still tired. And she was like, your adrenals are spent. And, she was teaching me all this stuff that I was like, what's happening? And she just helped me kind of figure out slow steps, how to take my food and how that is your fuel, and to be very considerate about that instead of just not thinking about it and it just being kind of it's just there. So just being thoughtful. And then the other thing, and she has a book called Be Well by Kelly, or Be Well, but body book.
She's been on here a
Body
couple
Love.
times.
Yeah.
We love Kelly.
She's great.
Hi,
And
Kelly.
she has her like shake in the morning, you know, just educating me. Also, like, I thought I had to have like a no fat diet. She's like, do you know everything that's no fat has so much sugar and is so processed and da 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 da. And I was like, you're right. And it just changed my whole thing. So right now I'm doing vegan for breakfast all the way basically up until dinner.
What's in your Fab smoothie?
Yeah.
Is it Fab 4?
Yeah.
Fab
so
4.
I'm not doing protein in it. I'm doing it's pear, lemon, apple, cucumber, celery, blueberries, ginger, turmeric, kale, and spinach.
Oh my
You know
God.
what?
How do you remember that?
You know what?
But it's buying all the produce
And just having it on hand to
and
grab.
rinsing it, cutting it, and doing
Smart.
Ziploc bags for each day.
Ooh, that's so
and
smart.
then you're just throwing the whole thing
That
in
is
the
genius.
blender.
Pears don't
with,
get enough love.
with the coconut.
Pears don't get enough love.
I-
Do you know what? There's nothing
Our
better
son
than a solid
loves-
pear.
Our
We
Like
have
son
to.
loves
Delicious.
pears.
a good pear in season.
Yes.
Yeah. Hayes
And then but like an
crushes pears.
overripe pear is awful.
No, it's like a rock.
Oh,
Yeah.
or the squishy.
Don't give him too
like
many
little-
pears, though, because you never know. You don't want another poop story.
Oh,
Is that what it's from?
Maybe.
It could
I
be.
may. That
Maybe
boy,
it's the pears.
That boy. There were whole blueberries in that poo. I was so mad. I was so mad about it. I'm not a good, like, I can't get down with that. Like, I can change a diaper, but when it's like in the tub,
Yeah, it's
I
difficult.
just, it's so awful. It's like when they throw up on me. Like every time I'm like, oh God, I can't.
Oh, Michael.
My friend's girlfriend just came to his house, and the dog. Oh no, my friend's girlfriend's dog came to his house, and he has a Roomba, and the dog shit on the floor, and then they left, and the Roomba went around and spread it all over the place.
That sounds like my nightmare.
I was like,
God.
that'd be it. That'd be done.
By Roomba or by dog? Which
Yeah.
one? No, by Roomba, right?
Well, now Roomba's
Goodbye.
never going to sponsor this show.
No, never.
Cash, what about your diet, exercise, wellness?
I don't. I don't
You
like
were
work.
working out for a
was.
while.
I
You're
don't
like
really
Michael. You're
like
just
it.
naturally. Michael works out once, and this is his weight.
Yeah, you look great.
Thank you.
Works
Yeah,
out once.
I'm not a huge fan of working out.
But we need to get back into it.
I would like to.
we
get back
both
into it.
we both need to start doing it again. I couldn't fit it into my schedule when I was doing the show. It was just way too hard. And then I got sick, and so I was like every excuse. I need to work out every day. I feel better. You do too.
I have to do it to just level set. 'Cause
We would feel better.
I was a real like grump this last couple of weeks. I got in trouble because
I call him cantankerous.
I let it go, and then it just built up.
Yeah,
So
Yes.
you got to work out.
I had to
Yeah.
have to do something. It's just not even so much for
Takes
the
the
fitness.
edge off.
Yeah, it just takes. I'm too much as it is. Like I'm pretty calm right now. Haven't had a lot, but I think it's because I got up and did it. But if I don't, I'm like, ugh, you know.
Wired.
Yeah.
What is a book, a resource, or a podcast that you would recommend to our audience?
What is your audience prime? What's their demographic? Like, what are their
Millennial, probably. But millennial,
Okay.
like usually it's I would
Young
think-
hustlers
Hustlers.
looking to keep
Okay.
improving, doing different things, pushing the boundaries.
Okay.
They're very curious.
Very curious.
Um,
Could be a TV show,
Anything that you can think back to.
a podcast, a book
Yeah,
you
I
love.
have-
American Greed.
Oh, what's that?
It's
He
it's
loves-
a terrible
he
show
loves that
that's
show.
on
It's
like
so
CNBC or something, but it just shows you like all the really smart people out there that just decided to
Push it
do
too far.
To push it too far.
Ooh, I
and-
wanna watch
and-
that. That
and
sounds really good.
Where if they just would have kept it legit, they probably would have been just as successful, but they decided to cut some corners and break some laws and they got caught. And I just love that because there is no shortcut, right? And so
and it's the same smart people that could have built something amazing.
Yeah.
And if they only just had integrity, they could have actually done something positive and maybe even changed the world in their own little way.
because I'm big on not being jealous of other people's success, and I think that the only thing that would drive you to really to commit fraud or to commit those kind of crimes is like somebody who's trying to get there quicker. And I think that if you're just patient with it and you're on your path, you'll find your pot of gold, so to speak. So
You're a pretty confident
American
dude.
greed.
Yeah, you are.
You are.
Greed.
You're a
Thank
pretty
you.
confident guy. I mean, walk up
But-
to Jessica Alba.
You know?
Yeah.
Just I think it's cool, man.
Thank you.
But
for
he's
you.
not but he doesn't have like a ego. Like he's
No, it's warm.
He's
It's-
like
it's-
a hugger.
Yeah, it's warm.
What do they say about compelling people? They say they have strength and warmth.
Strength strength and warmth. So warmth meaning, like the way they define it is warmth meaning that you do things, but not just for the benefit of yourself, but for the benefit of others. And strength meaning that if you say you're going to do something, the people actually believe that not only will you do it, but you have the ability to do it.
So you're going to change diapers because
like
you
that.
said in
But
this
they
podcast
say-
that you were going to
I
change all the
will.
diapers.
But they say most people either have
Sweet.
one or the other, and it's rare to have both.
Oh, that's
Okay.
cool. Okay.
With that,
I'll take that.
where can everyone find you? I'm sure they both already follow you.
Oh, so I didn't do my recommendation.
Oh, your recommendation. Yes, yes,
There's
yes.
a TED Talk series called by Adam Grant called Work Life.
Okay.
It's Work Life by Adam Grant.
That's great.
And he's an organizational psychologist. So he basically goes into many different organizations and he gets up underneath the psychology of how it operates and what works and what doesn't and outliers. And it's just like, it's really interesting because
Yeah.
then you can kind of understand where you fit in the context of your organization, whether you're building something and you're at a startup or whether you're inside of someone else's organization, company, whatever. So I think that one's a really good one.
Ray Dalio's TED Talk.
Work life.
Have
Ray,
you- Ray
I've only
Dalio?
heard Ray Dalio on Tony Robbins. I got to listen to his TED
His
Talk.
TED Talk
his
is
book, what was his book
incredible.
recently, yeah?
It's about like the radical trend. I don't know if it was called
It's the
radical.
black and white
Principles.
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 Did,
I
did,
love him.
Did Adam
I
Grant
gotta
write that
listen
book,
to
The
his TED
Originals?
Talk.
Incredible.
Did he write that book? Am I thinking of somebody different?
He probably did. He co-writes with a lot of folks. Or he writes his own
He
books.
writes
and
his own books, and then he
he's
wrote the
super smart.
I'm going to check it out.
Yeah.
Adam Grant.
I think he wrote The Incredibles.
So this present has been staring at me
The
this
present.
entire time. I
You
know
don't
it's
have to
probably
open
not-
it right now. I mean,
Oh,
it's
okay.
a skinny confidential book, and then it's lube.
And lube. Okay.
The lube, you can eat it, lick it, suck it, fuck it.
That's from me.
You get your healthy fats in, which Be Well by Kelly would love.
Nice. What is it made out of?
It's made of coconut oil, stevia, a little beeswax, and some vanilla essence.
Oh,
Nice.
the vanilla essence.
Lick it, suck it.
Okay, so where can everyone?
His books.
It's called Option B.
Oh, he wrote with she was with face I don't know what her Cheryl
Sandberg.
Sandberg.
yeah. Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Seen the name. Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna check both
It's
those out.
really good.
Okay.
I think you'd like it.